Hi, yeah, how you doing? How you boys doing? Welcome to another Angry Hobo channel with your host, the Angry Hobo, where we speak the truth, the hobo truth, and nothing but the hobo truth. So, this is a segue from my previous video. It's because, see, this subject just opens up a massive can of worms. So I'm going to be doing this video while I'm multitasking. I'm going to be doing this video while I'm doing stuff. And that, so in my previous video, basically what I'm harping on and on about is the universal truth that in helping others is how we help ourselves. And in order to protect our freedoms, we must defend the freedoms of others. These are universal truths. The homeless, American the massive homeless population is the most exemplary example of a group of people, massive group of people who've been completely ignored, whose rights have been completely trampled. Their human rights have been raped on a daily and hourly basis for decades and decades, and everybody ignores it while they go on talking about interdimensional beings of CERN and, transhumanism and plutocracies and the endless list of everything but that, right? It's like this whole save the planet bullshit. Well, nobody's ever going to do anything to save the planet if people, if you don't care for people, well, of course the planet you live on is going to turn into a big heaping pile of fucking sewage garbage like in the movie Idiocracy. If you don't care about people, well, watch your planet go turn into a fucking pile of diarrhea to get flushed down the fucking toilet. And people want to put the cart before the horse. Well, we gotta protect the planet. Meanwhile, let's just ignore these masses of people who are just fucking being genocided by poverty, literally, in the U.S. Anyways, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. This is how you know that there's no point in taking anything seriously. Because nobody cares. People will claim they care until it's time for the rubber to meet the road. It's time for them to walk their talk. As soon as it's time for these people to walk their talk, they ain't gonna do shit. That's how much they care about the Jewish laser beams and when it comes time to walk their talk, they're not gonna do anything. Absolutely nothing. Oh, they'll put some thumbnail image on their Facebook page, and that'll be enough, because it's such a big, the Jewish laser beam dilemma is such a big problem that other people are going to get involved and start doing some heavy lifting. As long as you just keep pumping out that Facebook image, thumbnail on your thing, eventually other people will catch on, right? It's just lazy, fucking stupid, so you can accuse me of being a liar, and that's totally fine. I'm lying. But does that change the universal truth that I'm speaking of when I'm talking about in order to protect our freedoms, we must defend the freedoms of others? That's a true statement, whether I'm a liar or not. Accuse me of being a liar all you want. Does that mean that statement is a lie? That in order to protect our freedoms, we must defend the freedoms of others? Is that a lie? Because I said it, does that make it a lie? No, see, that's a universal truth. So then the question is, well, what are you doing? What have you been doing all your life to defend the freedoms of anybody but yourself? Really, look at it. So like when you drive by that homeless woman who looks like she's 75 years old and she looks like she's been homeless for fucking 20 years, what do? You just keep driving by, right? Because, you got really important places to be and important things to do. Like, what are you doing to defend the freedoms of others? What are you doing like the other universal truth? By helping others, we help ourselves. And if you agree that that's a universal truth, whether I'm a liar or not, okay, I'm a liar. But does that mean that that statement is untrue? That in helping others, we help ourselves. So let's say you're like, well, yeah, that statement's true, but Angry Hobo is just a big liar, poopy, poop, poop, poop. Okay. Okay, so if it's true that in helping others, we help ourselves, well, what have you been doing all these years? Have you been helping others? Like what? Who have you been helping? Who? You know? Are there people that need help? Okay, how about this? Does it appear that it could be true that all these masses of homeless people need help? Could that be a possibility? Maybe, huh? Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, maybe so, maybe not. Okay, that's fine. Fair answer. Maybe so. I don't know. Maybe they need help. I don't know. Well, so in helping, so who are we supposed to help? So if it's true that in helping others we help ourselves, well, it's probably the easiest way to help others is to look for people that appear to be most in need of help, right? Well, by all appearances, wouldn't these massive homeless populations appear most in need of help? Yeah. You see, that's a rhetorical question at this point. And so it's like, so what have you been doing to help others? What have you been doing to defend the rights, defend the freedoms of others? Or is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is it a lie that in order to protect our freedoms, we must defend the freedoms of others? Is that just a big lie and I'm a big liar? Is that what? Is it just a big lie that by helping others is how we help ourselves? Is that just a big lie? Yeah. It's just a big Jewish Freemasonic conspiracy brainwash technique to distract us from the truth, right? See, and the thing is if all this terrible stuff is happening with the Jewish lasers, and all this other terrible stuff is happening with global vaccine genocides. See, if it were really happening, people would actually be doing something about it. Lord of the Rings is a great reference. Is a great way to see. In Lord of the Rings, they had to do stuff because Sauron, it was real. Sauron was the evil Jew Sauron and the evil Jew Saruman were genociding Middle Earth with a vaccine poison, and so people actually had to do something instead of just sitting around doing videos about it, hoping to get internet famous. No, they actually had to take action. Do something. And what was it? The reoccurring theme in Lord of the Rings, what was it they had to do? One of the biggest things that was a reoccurring theme over and over in Lord of the Rings is they had to drop their petty differences among each other and band together. Yeah? Because Saruman and Sauron, the evil Jews that were genociding Middle Earth with the vaccine, they were keeping everybody divided. Sauron and Saruman was keeping Middle Earth divided so that Sauron and Saruman can continue to run off with all the fucking money. And so the elves and the dwarves and the humans and the oath breakers they all had to drop all their petty differences. See, that's what would be happening if it were true that there are these Jewish laser beams and that there's these global vaccine genocides. If this was all true, people would be dropping their petty differences and banding together. But instead of doing that, everybody's doubling down on their petty differences. And they're rationalizing for doubling down on all their petty differences is because it's so serious that the Jewish Sauron and the Jewish Saruman and their Jewish laser beams are genociding everyone with vaccines. That's why I'm doubling down on my petty differences. See, empirical evidence, I don't go by just because you've got like an echo chamber of people, this massive BitChute echo chamber all saying the same thing. That doesn't mean that's what's happening in the real world. And when you look at the real world, you would be able to tell by empirical evidence that these things are true, And I see no evidence to suggest that people are dropping their petty differences to band together because to defend themselves against a common enemy. I don't see anybody doing that. And what I see is the opposite. Everybody doubling down on their petty differences. And so that's proof that there is nothing going on. There isn't anything happening, because if there was, people would be dropping their petty differences in order to, defend themselves against their common enemy. And that's not happening. Therefore, Saruman and Sauron doesn't exist. There is no Jewish Saruman conspiracy with Jewish laser beams, and they're poisoning the earth with a poisonous, deadly vaccine genocide plot. It's not happening, because if it was, everybody would be dropping all their petty differences and all coming together to defend themselves against their common enemy. And nobody's doing that. And not only is nobody doing that, everybody's doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on all their petty differences. So it's like that faith without works thing. You're showing me how much faith you have that it's a genocide, and you're showing me you're telling me. You're telling me how much faith you have in the Jewish space lasers. You're telling me how much faith you have that it's a global vaccine genocide. You're telling me all this, but I don't see any action, Whereas if it were really happening, you wouldn't even have to be telling me. You'd be showing me by your actions instead of just blah, blah, blah. Oh no, breaking, read all about it. It's World War III. Ha ha ha. Didn't I tell you guys World War III? Breaking, read all about it. Extra. It's a global genocide. Meanwhile, everybody just keep going to work at your shitty, meaningless jobs and keep groveling for shekels, even though extra, read all about it. It's the Jewish space lasers. And, none of you people's actions align with this big narrative that it's Jewish space lasers and global vaccine genocides. Your actions don't match up with your words. It's all talk. Whereas again, if it were really happening, you would be seeing things changing. You'd be seeing people dropping their petty differences. But instead, what are you seeing? The opposite, where people are doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on their petty differences because it's a global genocide is why I'm more insistent on my petty differences. None of it makes any sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. See you, boys.